There's an old saying that I believe sums up the celestial twins quite well. Two sides of the same coin. The traveler today was their siblings yesterday, and if fates are cruel, their siblings today is the traveler's future. I've covered and theorized before about one question. How strong is the traveler? And from what we've seen in 2.1, the concept of their power scaling still holds true from that video. But with the context of their duel with Beelzebul and Rosalind, let me introduce to you another question. What about their sibling? Today we're going to be answering the question, how strong is the Abyss Sibling in lore? We'll be dissecting the lore from what we know as well as putting together pieces and theorizing from implications we saw across the game. There will be a mix of both confirmed and speculated information, but this is just an interesting thought experiment from yours truly. For the purposes of this video, just like my other ones talking about the Abyss Sibling, I will be using Lumine as my character of choice for no reason other than consistency with my other videos. And when I say strong, I'm not only talking about combat strength. I'm talking about resources, knowledge, wisdom, and power based on the implications of her story in the game. We'll be separating this video into 3 categories. Lumine as a celestial traveler, as the Abyss Princess, and as the KHAENRIAHN ally. So let's begin with her base abilities. This plays into the fact that she and Aether are interchangeable, and that they came to this world both from the same world and history. We know that the existence of Lumine and Aether pre-exists further than what we know as an audience. So it's fair to say that the Traveler Lumine and Traveler Aether are the same because much like in-game, they are. So we can surmise what she had when she was with Dainsleif by looking at Aether now. We know that she has access to flight in the opening cutscene, as well as waypoint and interdimensional teleportation. Waypoints are known to be ancient relics of the past, and there's no concrete evidence that the actual waypoint relics we see in the world can be used by other people, and even the portable waypoints cement this assumption. As noted, people on the continent see them as ancient gimmicks. They are accustomed to their existence despite not knowing their purpose. To the foreign traveler, however, their function becomes quite apparent. One difference, however, between the siblings is that her powers are unlocked, as implied by her Moonblade currently being on her person, and that Aether calls out to her that they should go home. She also has knowledge of how to tap into the statues of the 7 for power, so it's fair to say that she possesses all 7 elements. White is the base color of her abilities when there is no element absorbed, and white light is a combination of all colors in the color spectrum. Going by this, we also know that she is capable of using them simultaneously, just like Aether when he fought against Tartaglia. We also know that Lumine is capable of purification much like her brother. Aether's purification magic was never thoroughly explained in the lore of Genshin, but we know that willingly, he is able to purify abyssal corruption much like Dvalin and the Festering Desire. Lumine would also have access to those capabilities because the assumption is that both twins are celestial beings that travel to Teyvat as shooting stars. But the question is, does she even care about her purification abilities? Because we know that she is the princess of the Abyss. We already know that whatever abilities she had as a traveler will have been greatly amplified by abyssal magic, similar to Tartaglia and La Senora, who were both exposed to the Abyss very heavily in their past. We see in 1.4 that her sword is tainted with abyssal magic, and the shots she fires at Dainsleif resembles the purple glow of the Abyss mixed with her own radiant damage. But another disturbing revelation is realizing she has the power to end the Archons. In terms of power against the current 3 Archons we know, I believe she is stronger than all 3 individually, especially now with the corruption of the Abyss. Remember, Abyss magic is antithetical to celestial magic. This was the very essence that poisoned Venti and Dvalin, as well as corrupted Zhongli's pillars. We know that the current traveler is already capable of besting a Fatui Harbinger and the current Electro Archon through harnessing the powers of the elements, a power unseen before in Teyvat. So who is to say that their sibling can't do the same with Abyssal? It's also possible that if we were to fight her, she would possess a secondary form. Going back to the purification, it may be possible that it's because of these very abilities that she hasn't turned into a vile or broken creature. We see that she is able to activate and deactivate the purple hue on her sword, much like how the Festering Desire's purple hues were dispelled by the Traveler back in 1.2 when he purified it. However, it may be said that her power didn't outright reject the abyssal magic. We may get something akin to Tartaglia's Foul Legacy, Senora's mod form that accumulated after years of fighting the abyssal monster, Thorachio's form when she was swallowed by the abyss, or even the blood-stained knight's slow descent into madness when he stopped showing signs of his humanity. From his story, we know that Lumine's body would have also been experiencing the questionable speed of time in the abyss. time moves faster in the Abyss, where 3 months is equivalent to 3 days in Teyvatian time. While she has existed for 500 years, who is to say that is in the context of Teyvat's time to begin with? Or, if she existed for 500 years in Teyvat time, does that mean she lived for almost millennia in the Abyss? Only time will truly tell. We also know that her teleportation magic far exceeds Aether's because she can willingly enter through the Abyss, similar to Dainsleif and the Herald. We know that Aether doesn't have access to the Abyss because he passed right through it. That means that whatever force is keeping others out also lets certain beings in. And I surmise that the Abyss Order has reasons for letting their teleportation magic be used by the Traveler. Specifically, KHAENRIAHN reasons. It is unknown how long she woke up before being thrown away by the unknown god. But what we do know is that she woke up before Aether, and needed enough time to not only corrupt the Valen long enough that his name became modern-name Stormterror, but also have established the Abyss Order as a firm threat. However, we know that she was awake for KHAENRIAH's existence. There must be a reason that the Abyss Order is loyal to her, especially since they're old KHAENRIAHN citizens. We know that the Abyss Heralds and Lectors may have been high-ranking members of the Eclipse dynasty based on the implications of her dialogue with Dainsleif. So perhaps, much like Aether, these were the same people that she helped in the past. KHAENRIAHN to her is what Mondstadt was to Aether. I believe that Lumine, from being a traveler, began her journey in KHAENRIAH where Dainsleif was sent to be her guide, and that she knew the people that slowly became the Abyss Order from their life before the Cataclysm. This gives way for Lumine to have extensive knowledge on 3 lost arts that are currently unknown, and with the use of her extensive centuries worth of knowledge, is what makes her a formidable foe against Celestia. First is the art of the Field Tellers. The Ruin Machinations are some of the most fascinating enemies, and with the introduction of Inazuma, we're only seeing more and more as time progresses. Lumine definitely understands these machines and how they operate, and we know that even the Fatui Harbinger Dotora was fascinated by these machinations. The second one is a theory she knows about the art of KHEMIA, as she would have met gold in her travels similar to how Albedo met Aether. A quote from Dainsleif states that Albedo's story will most likely follow in the footsteps of the alchemist gold and their creations. As we are aware, chalk pursues gold. But what about the other way around? We know that Albedo, for all his intelligence and passion for the art of KHEMIA, will eventually be lost to his own ambition. So it isn't impossible that what Albedo is, gold was. Lumine, being an unknown celestial traveler, would have piqued Gold's interest at some point, and it would even be likely that she knew of him before he descended into madness. We know that Lumine, much like her brother, is a curious person. They're both travelers after all. So it isn't impossible that Lumine knows about the intricate alchemy and specifically has had experience with lost art KHEMIA, maybe not as a practitioner, but certainly as a student. And speaking of Albedo, here's a more interesting implication if Lumine has extensive knowledge about KHAENRIAH, the art of artificial life. I believe that she has knowledge, albeit not extensively, about the existence of the artificial life creation process that Catherine, the Kunikuzashi, and Albedo come from. Let's dissect this. While the Kunikuzashi was never confirmed to have come from KHAENRIAHN technology, we know that he was created with technology that was lost to time. According to Yaimiko, perhaps A, as a god, is the only one privy to the knowledge of its origins. And much like how Venti understood Albedo's origins from KHAENRIAH as a homunculus, this could parallel that fact. Lumine knowing about artificial life is definitely what would give her an upper hand should the need of addressing militaristic power is questioned. We know how strong the Kunikuzashi became after being embedded with celestial magic, both in his original power and the delusion. So should Lumine be able to create a being mirroring the 6th Harbinger and giving them the access to abyssal energy like the 11th and the 8th would increase the Abyss Order's power vastly. Who knows? Maybe she'll even make an artificial creation in the form of the brother she missed dearly. This was just a fun exercise that gave me an excuse to ramble on about Lumine. This is relatively long, but that's just because her strength is actually much greater than what people make it out to be. She is a main antagonist, and if anything, might even be on par with the Archons, if not higher. Understanding her power set will give amazing implications. Anyways, my name is Aster, and thank you for chilling with me.